This year, the dance drama The Journey of a Legendary Landscape Painting became a smash hit with China's youth after it was featured on the CMG Spring Festival Gala. The show was inspired by the famous scroll painting of Panorama of Rivers and Mountains by Northern Song Dynasty prodigy Wang Ximeng, who was only a teenager at the time when he created the epic Panorama. His story told through the dance drama has certainly rekindled many Chinese youth fervor to embrace traditional Chinese culture. Yu Yang tells us more.
This is how young people show their style by wearing a hanfu, a traditional type of Chinese clothing.
I used to promote hanfu culture in the United States. I think it's the historical dress of our motherland. I believe by wearing the traditional Chinese clothing, we can inherit our traditional culture of propriety, righteousness, and honesty.
Besides wearing a hanfu, many traditional dances and dramas have also gained popularity among young Chinese people. For example, a poetic dance called The Journey of Legendary Landscape Painting, inspired by the well-known picture A Panorama of Rivers and Mountains, which was also created during the Song Dynasty, has quickly spread on social media after being performed at the China Media Group Spring Festival Gala. The leading dancers say they were also fascinated by traditional cultures as they try to step into the roles during their performances.
I
played the part of Wang Ximeng in the dance, who is the painter of the piece, in order to identify with the character and learn traditional Chinese painting with the teacher. After playing the role, I found myself also falling in love with the beautiful landscape all across China. I believe the rivers and mountains we visit today are just like the landscape depicted by Wang Ximeng in the Song Dynasty thousands of years ago.
I think for a dancer, we are quite lucky to perform this kind of piece. It gives us a chance to get to know the notions of propriety and righteousness in the traditional culture. And every time when we perform on the stage, we can feel the responses from our audience that we are inheriting the same culture, our ancestors' culture.
And the dancers believe their performances could help promote the traditional culture to more young people across the country.
I remember some of the audience wearing hanfus at our performances. Some of them even wore our dance costumes. Whenever I saw this, I think, as a dancer, we have a responsibility to promote our traditional Chinese culture. I would love our audience to not only feel the beauty of our dance, but also the cultural spirit in our performances.
Experts at the Chinese Academy of Arts say the popularity of traditional Chinese culture among young people, of the notion of guochao, refers to a kind of lifestyle that includes attending national music concerts, tea ceremonies and flower ceremonies. The reason behind its emergence is very complex, and some would attribute it to a cultural recognition of Chinese people. Experts say the enthusiasm of young people for traditional Chinese culture is of course showing the young generation's cultural confidence. At the same time, they are also called on young people to go deeper towards the studies of traditional Chinese culture. For example, learning more about the history as well as the reasons why the customs originated in ancient times. Yu Yang, CGTN, Beijing.